Okay, I'm jumping on the Q&A bandwagon finally after 6 odd years. So let's have a look at the questions some of my friends and family and so forth on social media sent me. So, best place I've ever been to? Well, I've only got one answer for that. St. Martin, Princess Juliana Airport. Well, the island itself was really good. I did see a bit of the island, but I spent most of my time at Maho Beach. It's just an absolute haven for someone like me, an av geek from birth. Can't wait to go back again. Favourite hotel? A lot of lush hotels I've stayed in over the years, but I do want to give a special shout out to the Hotel Opera from Gothenburg, Sweden. I paid £80 for a 4-star establishment. A breakfast was included, and it was a great selection. The amenities were really nice and good quality. They gave a good selection of tea and coffee in the room. The beds were really comfy, and they even had a sauna room, which you could use as a guest. And I'll tell you what, there's a bit of a novelty for someone who lives in the UK, because we don't have a lot of hotels that offer saunas. And the view was pretty good, I have to say. I mean, as you're about to see on the video, got a nice view across Gothenburg from where I was. Yeah, so this is the Hotel Opera. And I also want to give a shout out to the Jumbo Stay in nearby Stockholm, Sweden, because let's face it, when it comes to hostels and apartments and stuff like that, they're a different list altogether. And it's not every day you get to stay in a Boeing 747 for a hotel. I cannot wait to do the flight deck suite at some point. It is somewhere I recommend once in your lifetime. So my preferred airline, well, probably won't surprise you, but it is British Airways, because it's my home airline. Heathrow is such a easy airport for me to get to. The timetable, the scheduling, it's just great for me personally, and I do quite like the onboard product, even though I have been a bit critical of the buy on board on the European flights recently. However, it is a solid product. The crews are great, and I also want to give a special shout out to KLM because, again, solid product. If it weren't for BA, I would definitely be very much a KLM person. It's just unfortunate I don't live near Amsterdam. But both airlines have really great crew. They're all geek friendly, or well, most of them are anyway. And obviously, there's an interesting fleet selection across both airlines. Favourite airliner to fly has to be the Finnair A350. 5 years and strong. I've done multiple flights on it. It's great to do on the London to Helsinki route. Very comfortable ride, especially in economy class, because I flew to Hong Kong and back recently with them by Helsinki, and I tell you what, it was just a pretty good experience. And I'm hoping to do an upgrade to business class at some point on a long haul flight. We'll get back to that soon, though. Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to the Fokker 70 as my favourite historical, hard to come by airliner. Real pocket rocket, if you know what that means. And I was also fortunate enough to be on the last KLM service with the Fokker 70. I did the Amsterdam Heathrow leg, which is where this clip's from. Just an amazing little aircraft. Okay. The guys who asked for this, you know what's coming. Barista, review thy meal. So we're going to split this into two, because you can't really put business and economy meals in the same list. It's just not going to happen. So I want to give a shout to Finnair and this business class beef meal that I had back in 2018 when I was flying off of my first USA tour. I upgraded on the London-Helsinki leg. This was a really good meal. The beef just absolutely gorgeous, melted in your mouth. The mash was pretty solid. The spring onions gave a bit of flavouring. Carl Fraser chocolate, can't underscore how good that stuff is. It's just a shame it's not easy to come by in the UK. You got to go to the import websites. No idea what that was, though. If someone could point out to me, that'd be brilliant. And yes, this is my favourite meal so far from business class, although that could change at any point. You never know. And we're going back to way back for my best economy class dining experience. The traditional cooked breakfast with British Airways. Used to get these on the London to Scotland route, so you can see them on Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Glasgow. Sadly, a thing of the past since the buy on board came in. They don't even offer a buy on board option for this. A more fancier version can be found on Club Europe flights up to Scotland from London. It is very popular. I really enjoyed it myself. I'm not sure what other people would make of it, but I had plenty of these on some of my previous flights. Worst airline food. Where do I begin with this one? Well, unfortunately it has to go back to Finnair because they gave me this abomination of a sandwich on a flight to New York. I mean, mayonnaise, lettuce, cucumber and cheese. Did you see that mess in there? If you're a vegetarian and you like that stuff, by all means fine, but yeah. Okay, so Paul Lucas messaged me this as a tweet a while ago on Twitter, but I thought it would be a good question to answer on this video, so I'm doing it here too. My most saddest retirement has to be the MD-80. I absolutely love the DC-9 family and MD-80 design. I did get 2 flights with the MD-80 recently with Delta and American before they went, which I'm really happy with. But It's a shame to see it go. It's one of the last aircraft that, prior to the duopoly. And I also want to give a shout out to Concorde. It's the saddest fleet-wide retirement that I've seen in my lifetime, because it's not often you see an entire fleet of planes suddenly grounded, never to fly again overnight. It's a very rare occurrence for commercial aviation. Travel plans for the next 2 years. Another good question. I am currently saving to go to Australia. I would like to go to Singapore at some point next year and do Finnair business class on the 350 long haul. I have the miles ready. I just got to book a flight because, well, it was supposed to happen this year, but coronavirus, obviously. That's just a little list of places I want to see in Europe next year. Most of it, these cities I haven't been to. But I also want to give a shout out to Eurowings. That is probably one of the most highly prioritised airlines I want to do for my channel, especially with the GoPro, because it's been over 4 years now since I last flew with them. I do struggle to empathise with nervous flyers. But my best advice to a nervous flyer: try get yourself a aisle seat towards the centre stroke rear of the plane. Try be near a toilet, so if you do feel a bit sick or queasy, you can make a run for it. And being on the aisle seat, you won't feel as entrapped. Try and avoid flying Ryanair, and oh god, my bottom is clenching at the sight and the remembrance of that event. But they have some pretty rough landings. Try and avoid them if you can, because, again, nervous flyers, you really want a calm airline. Favourite restaurant? So we're going to start with Hard Rock Cafe. I know it's a chain, it's all over the world, but I love going to the individual cafes and seeing all the different memorabilia from different artists from all over the world and the decades. It's just great. But I want to prioritise the Princess Juliana as the main event for this question. It's a Dutch cruise liner that now resides in Aalborg, Denmark. It produces Dutch, French and Danish cuisine for its guests who arrive. You can get some nice views across the river as well from where it's moored. And that was my dinner on the Juliana. It was a beef brisket meal with a couple of other bits and bobs. That's a little Manhattan at the end. And as you can see, this is the Connie Bar at TWA's hotel in JFK. Again, I highly recommend this. Is probably the best bar I've been to. It is very expensive. Seats can be a little hard to come by. You may have a bit of a wait, but it is worth doing at least once when you're over in New York or on a layover. Or even if you're celebrating an occasion, just go ahead and do it. It is amazing. And yes, I did spend $45 on that, which you see in the picture. It came to just over £30. What made me want to start doing flight views? Very good question. I'm not going to lie. I was very happy to receive this question. Basically, I just wanted to do my own flights, my own trips. I was inspired by a number of other aviation-related YouTube channels to do my own videos. Had the camera that worked. I wanted to go and keep some sort of a memory of my trips and flights. And I thought these YouTube videos would be a good way of doing it. I can share the experience as well. Here are some channels that have inspired me over the years, or specifically early on. Some of them sadly no longer active and refined to the history books. But yeah, that is pretty much why I wanted to start doing these flight reviews. And we are coming to the end of the video now. All the questions have unfortunately been answered. So I hope these answered your questions. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on a bit about it. And I'll give a special thank you to these lovely people for providing the questions.